go over Catullus 8. It's my favorite Catullus poem, I think. It's number 7 in stage 45. So it's in a meter that you're not going to have to do for the final exam called um, oleambics or limping iambics. It's got a little hitch at the end. And it makes it seem like it's limping, and it's associated with poems of abuse, which I think it's important to know because this is a poem where Catullus is talking to himself. There he is in the vocative, and kind of being a little abusive towards himself, telling himself to forget his girlfriend. So here we go. Wretched Catullus, vocative, may you stop. Decino decinere is third conjugation, as is duco ducere. So these are both, since they're in the second person, we'll call them jussive subjunctives. Present subjunctives used independently, not in a clause, not one of those dependent clauses that we know that takes a subjunctive. And we're going to translate it almost like a command. So, wretched Catullus, may you stop playing a fool and may you consider. I know duco ducere usually means lead, but sometimes it means consider. May you consider lost what you see to have died, what you see has died, and what you see has died, may you consider it lost. And now, pulsera. When you first look at that, you might think that that's an infinitive, but it's not. It's from fulgeo, fulgere. That's the infinitive. Fulsi, that's the perfect stem there, fulse. So this fulsera is the equivalent of fulserunt. That's sometimes called a syncopated perfect. So it's third person plural, perfect active indicative. All right. So once upon a time, the suns shone white for you or bright for you. When you used to go or used to keep on going. So we know the verb venio venire, to come or to go. So this is the frequentative, ventito ventitare, and it's in the imperfect. So when you used to keep on going where the girl was leading, and now amata is that perfect passive participle, agrees with the girl, that girl having been loved by us, literally as much as no girl will be loved. There, or maybe we'd want to say then, okay? Those many pleasant things, neuter plural. So yokosis is an adjective meaning pleasant. So this is the neuter plural. So we'll say pleasant things. So there or then, back when the suns were shining bright, there, those many pleasant things then were happening. Remember, fio fiere, to happen, which you were wanting, nor was the girl not wanting, right? If we want, we can split up this neck from nor into and not, which, the antecedent there is the yokosa, which you were wanting, and the girl was not wanting. Truly, the suns shone bright for you. So those were good days. So we had that tum, now we have nunc. Now already she, right? So this is that change of subject use of illa. Now already she doesn't want. That's an archaic spelling for Wolt, all right? So now already she doesn't want. You also, being powerless, don't want. We see this imperative of nolo most often with an infinitive to express a negative imperative, but here it's all by itself. Don't want, nor follow. So this verb is sector, sectari, sectatusum, its deponent. And this form is the passive or deponent imperative, right? So, nor follow her who flees. So the antecedent of qui is, I don't know. The antecedent of qui is really, if you imagine an ahob in there, and don't follow her who flees, nor live wretched. Vive is the imperative, but carry on, persist. Perfer, that's the imperative of perfero. But carry on with a stubborn mind. Be tough. Again, another imperative from obdoro obdorare. And so he's been talking to himself all this time, and now he starts talking to his girl. Goodbye, girl. Now Catullus is being tough. Nor will he look for you. So this is future tense. Nor will he ask you unwilling. Remember, invitus, invita, invitum means unwilling. So, nor will he look for you, nor will he ask you unwilling if you're unwilling. But you will be sorry. And now this is a little tricky, right? When you will be asked, we had rogabit before, so now we have rogaberus. Literally, when no you will be asked. I'm going to say when you will be asked, not at all. Wretch, woe is you. And now we have this series of questions that I think start out as sort of these indignant questions. The answer is supposed to be none, no. But as he gets more and more sort of, as the questions, as his imaginings become more and more vivid, um, I think he starts to lose some of his toughness. All right, so qui here is the interrogative adjective. What life remains for you? And now we're going to have a series of interrogative pronouns. Who now will approach you? Odd plus ao, right? To whom, that's the dative, will you seem? The passive of video can mean be seen, but it can also mean seem, and that's what I think it means here. To whom will you seem beautiful? Whom now will you love? And here's a genitive. Of whom will you be said to be? Whose will you be said to be? Whom will you kiss? Now, this again is a dative. In If I told you to translate this into Latin, you might translate it with a genitive. We'll talk about why the dative is the right thing in a minute. But whose little lips will you bite? Labella is a diminutive. So whose little lips will you bite? Again, I said you might expect this to be a genitive, but often with like body parts, Latin will use a dative instead. So I would describe this as just, dative with body parts. So whose little lips will you bite? You can see that there's been a movement here from these sort of defiant questions to these sort of more, I don't know, morbid imaginings on Catullus's part. And so that's when he stops talking to the girl and turns around and starts talking to himself again. But you, Catullus, having been determined, right? Having made up your mind, be tough, a final imperative. My favorite Catullus poem. There we go. Hope it helped.